Good evening, and Happy New Year to all. Welcome to another episode of Smashing Kidney Disease. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining us. So, our original show tonight was supposed to be with Minister Nick Gentile. That was unexpectedly canceled at the last minute. We apologize for any inconveniences. However, if you want to get in contact with Minister Nick Gentile, he does have a Facebook page. We wish the minister well, so if you'd like to reach out to him and hear his story, he is on Facebook. Now, on to the show. We was gracious enough to get what I call half of the dynamic duo of kidney transplant advertisement in the 21st century. These guys have advertised for Kidney Warriors Barb Lundberg, Jesus Mendoza, Julie Needs a Kidney, and Nick Salter, who will be on our show, Smashing Kidney Disease, next Tuesday. So without further ado, let's bring this guy on. Jared A. Brown. What's going on, Jared?
Hey, it is awesome to be on this show. This is great. Way to bring in the new year. Talking to you, Steve, it's an honor, honestly. I think the world of you.
Oh, man, thank you. I appreciate that comment, man. Thank you. Man, how long have we known each other on Facebook?
It's been about a year now. We've been...
Is that how long your sister-in-law started advertisement on Facebook?
Yeah, we started, I started a Facebook page for her back in 2016, but there was about a 11-month period where we thought we had somebody that was a perfect match, and there was about almost a year that went by, and then we had to go full force again. So it's been about, it was about a year ago that we were really going, 100%. We were going 100.
So, Jared, I mean, man, I think you and your brother do amazing things. As we was talking before we came on camera, as I told you, as long as I've been doing this, I never seen any type of advertisement for someone looking for a transplant kidney, and so much detail and effort that you and your brother do. Can you just share with the audience how this journey started, how you got involved in doing this advocacy, especially for other people?
Sure, absolutely. It all started with my sister-in-law, my twin brother's wife, Amal Brown. She first was diagnosed with kidney disease back in 2008, and she had to go on kidney dialysis back in 2014. And because of her kidneys not functioning well enough, and she had to go on kidney dialysis, well, that's really where it started, is I had to become a lot more familiar with what was happening to her. In the beginning, it was like, okay, she's struggling with this. I didn't really know enough about it to understand that, once she was on dialysis, that her kidneys wouldn't heal themselves and she would be off dialysis. I didn't quite understand that. And so, I had to get more familiar with it. And then slowly, the sole reason why I created a Facebook page for my sister-in-law is back in 2016 in December. She's a very private person. She posted on Facebook, which again is not like her. She's very private. She had posted a very dejected sort of, it was a post that was very discouraging. And she was very depressed, very dejected, and she basically typed out the most discouraging post I'd ever read. And at that point, that's when I knew that I had to do something more. I had to get more involved, and I felt like I had to do something to help her.
Hey, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
I remember that post. I remember that when you said that. I remember that post.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I seen that post. Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
I've saved it. So like in my Facebook account, you know, when I clicked on my saved stuff, it's still there because it resonated with me. You know, I'm sure there are things in your life that when you read them, hear them, like music, you know, when something happens and it resonates with you, that's what that post did for me that day. Is it resonated with me, and
Hmm.
I felt like I had to do something, and so I created a Facebook page, you know, really just that day. And since then, that's kind of how we had to get things going. And it was, we took a little time off because we, you know, on that page, we felt like we had a match, and then it fell through because she was very sensitive to antibodies, and
Okay.
so we thought we had a match. And so for about an 11-month period, you know, we really didn't do much. And then because of that candidate falling through, we had to go through the whole process again. And
Mm.
you know, it much like when she wrote that post, each and every time uh, when we had a candidate and someone did come forward and then they were declined, it was so frustrating for her. And you
I
know,
can
so
imagine.
I mean, as many of your friends that you have that go through that, you can only imagine. And I can't say that I've been through it, but I
Hmm.
by proxy, I've seen how she went through it, and it's so discouraging for them when they get a candidate and then they're declined by the hospital, or something happens, or the tests are going positively and then something else comes up, or you know what I'm saying. And
Oh,
so maybe
absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of people who's watching know the exact same thing, who's waiting for that call and got the call, and they say stand by, and you're waiting for hours, and you don't know, you're twirling your thumbs wondering if it's a match, if it's not a match, and they call you back and say it's not a match. As a matter of fact, Jesus Mendoza, who was on that show, she went through that.
exactly, yes, she does go through that, and so I played the role of the cheerleader when all this was happening. I really felt like, you know, I had to be the one because my twin brother, you know, he was going through all of this turmoil, and
Hmm.
he would get down, she would get down,
Of
and so
course.
I had to be the cheerleader, and I took that role and I ran with it. I did, and you know, I loved being that, and I loved playing that role so much that I would do whatever I could to keep them up. You know, I would
May
find
God
different
bless you.
ways.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would do whatever I could. I would send them a message, or I would, you know, pray. I would get down on my knees and pray, whatever I could. But I would constantly try to keep his attitude, and I would try to keep it up as well as I can or could at the time.
Right. Absolutely. So how's everything now? Is it up?
Yeah, it's up, man. I'm having fun. It's
Yeah.
it.
You got a
You
lot of
know,
energy, man. And I wish you was my brother, man. Wow. Keep me going. And so, who was your first customer? Well, I don't want to say customer. Who was the first person that you and your brother helped starting this? Or how did that idea come up to even help other people?
well, I mean, you know, because of the grace of God, you know, and that my sister-in-law, she did finally get that call, and she got the
Great.
call. She had a kidney donor, a cadaveric kidney donor, and it was a miracle. And I still, you know, I thank God, I praise God that that happened. And when that all came into play, and she had a kidney donor, with everything that Jeff, my twin brother, and I had done, I just felt like I couldn't stand by. You know, I couldn't
Hmm.
just sit there. There are so many other people that needed our help. And so I did know that I wanted to do something, and I could. So I did. I know I had a neighbor, and that was the first person I thought of when the
Wow.
whole idea came into play, is that my neighbor who lived across the street from me, his name's Terry Spencer, and he has chronic kidney disease, and he's been on PD for about 5 years. You know,
Okay. Okay.
so he was the first one that came to my mind, and so he was the first person I started advocating, other than of course, my sister-in-law, and then Jesusa Mendoza. She was one of the followers for my sister-in-law's page,
Wow. Okay.
and
Okay.
she actually messaged me and Jeff separately and asked if we would help her. And so she did that, and then she kind of became our second person that we were helping.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started helping some other people too, like Barb Lundberg was one of our followers. She and I kind of interacted. She interacted with my twin brother Jeff, and so we brought her on board. We've been helping her, and then I had Cindy. I had Cindy message me. Some of these people, they'll message that they've actually messaged me, and that was the case with Cindy. Her husband is Joe Cortez. So anyway, I'm rambling a bit here, but that it just kind of turned into something that we've accepted because we couldn't stand by and let all these people not have help.
Right. Hey, Jared. Barb Lumber asked, do you know what caused your sister-in-law's kidney failure?
That's a great question. I don't know exactly what caused it. I know that having been from Ethiopia, and because of her heritage,
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's something that is in her genes, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
I don't know specifically. I just know that it's part of her makeup because of her heritage.
Yeah. Wow. So I remember seeing in the beginning, honestly, your posters helping people because, like I said, when I saw your sister-in-law's post and started following her story, and I'm not sure if it was a post from you or your brother where, 1 minute y'all were talking, and then the next minute it was like you were on your way to Boston to get this kidney. And so I saw the posters, how they was developing. So how did it get to this point with the technology of what you're using? Matter of fact, you're in what you call a green room that you developed in your basement.
Yeah, it's I've been an actor. You and I have chatted a little bit where I've been an actor and I've been in plays. And so I love being in front of the camera. I'm not going to lie. This is fun. I enjoy this.
Right.
Whenever you get me in front of a camera, I'm going to smile and I'm going to have fun. But what happened is that we just tried to think of creative ways, to grab attention, and so we've constantly tried to, brainstorm and come up with different ideas. And man, I don't remember exactly where my train of thought went or how it came to be, but I just thought one day that it would be interesting to do what kind of the weathermen do at the green screen, and try to come up with something that could, drive attention and grab attention. And so that's, I've got a Utah Jazz throw pillow, but behind that, I've got a green screen, and it literally wasn't that much money to make, honestly. I just went to a hardware store, Lowe's, and I bought like an insulation board, and the insulation board was only like $11. It's not that much money, I'm not going to lie. And then I bought like $6 worth of green tissue paper that you generally use when you're putting something in like one of those care packages.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I put a bunch of the green tissue paper on my insulation board, and then I got a green screen. That's so.
Very creative, my friend. Very
Yeah,
creative.
it's not that much money. I haven't spent a whole lot of money to do it, but it's it's evolving. Where I just went online, watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I use the software on my laptop called OBS software. It's a free download. There's no monthly cost, and it's open source. So there are constantly developers adding to it. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit, but
Oh,
it's
that's
fun.
okay, man. That's okay.
It's
That's great,
fun.
man. Um,
So
Let me ask you, where do you get the concepts to do what you do, as far as with the advertisement?
Well, we bounce ideas off one another, Jeff and myself, and just a couple days ago, he had the idea of an avalanche because, we try to do certain themes with our posters, and when you think of shares, we use metaphors like we want to see a waterfall of shares, or we want to see an eruption of shares, like with a volcano. And
Right.
so, that spawned a couple of my ideas. I've done a video for one of my pages with a volcano. I've got lava going up.
Right, right.
And and then his idea was just a couple days ago. We were just bouncing ideas off, and he said, "Well, what about an avalanche?" And so
I saw that
I
video.
went
I
with
like
that.
it.
Yeah, I went with that. That was probably my most elaborate video that I've made to date because it was many layers where I actually had like two different videos going. One was the avalanche. One was the snowy mountain scene, and then I had a third one going. Anyway, it's a pretty elaborate. I've got like the video effects, then I've got sound, and so it was my most involved one right now, and so I'm hoping everybody liked it because
Right.
when you look at it in the very beginning, especially, it looks like I'm really in a snowy mountain scene, right?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, oh, absolutely. But Jared, let me ask you this. At what point did you realize this disease was as serious as it is? Did you know that when your sister-in-law was going through it? Did you know at that time it was as serious as it is?
I didn't. No, I didn't at all. And that, and that's exactly why I'm still doing it now. Is because of how serious it is. I mean, more people have kidney disease than prostate cancer or breast cancer. It's that serious. I don't think, and that's why we need more people like you, like me, to bring more awareness to this. Not, if I didn't know that, there are many people out there that don't know that right now. We need more people that can get the word out and promote this so that we can get more help to these people.
Let me ask you this, Jared. Do you think, just your personal opinion? I'm not, asking to throw any shade or anything on any organizations, but do you think the national organizations that are out there now, like the American Kidney Fund, American Kidney Foundation, do you think they're doing enough um, to raise awareness?
Are they doing enough? They're doing something, but I honestly think that they could do more. I do.
Right. Well, but see, this is the thing why I asked you this, Jared, because people like you and me that's doing this, I mean, we're considered grassroots, basically. We're not getting paid for our time and effort, the sweat equity that we're doing.
Right.
However, when you have organizations such as the American Kidney Foundation that's and people can go and look them up because they have a 990 because they're a nonprofit. They're
Uh-huh.
they're clearing over 20 something $1 million a year after they do their programs and everything else. So you have to wonder, if you had that much money left over, why can't you do these type of um, interviews or spread more awareness on transplantation? I mean, I know they do research, but listen, man, I've been doing this 33 years. They've been talking about research and doing it and ending kidney disease as long as I've been in, and that's 33 years, and there hasn't been a decrease. In fact, it's been an increase, and in fact, it's the ninth leading cause of death in the United States. So why hasn't it has? If they're talking about research and ending it, why isn't it enough awareness to prevent people from getting it? That's all I'm saying, Jared. That's all I'm saying, man. It
That's a
sounds
great
like
question. I mean, the George Lopez Foundation is doing more than an organization like the American Kidney Fund. It's incredible. With that amount of funds, that amount of money, there should be someone on their end doing what you and I are doing to get more attention.
exactly. They have the resources, the financial resources that can do it, but you know, and look, I mean, God bless. People could donate to their choices, but this is why I say you have people whose birthdays are coming up or who have birthdays who, donate to American Kidney Fund, and that's fine and well. But when you have organizations such as mine and people such as you that's doing this grassroots, you're seeing us every week, you're seeing our work out there, we're doing this. I mean, and we can't even get a donation. I mean, I don't know about
Right.
you, but I'm speaking for myself. I mean, sometimes sometimes it's disheartening, but I keep going on because I know at the end of the day, God gets the glory for this, and I try not to get caught up in man and cardinal things and things that depend on other humans to donate when if I keep doing what I'm doing, at the end of the day, God would bless the ministry.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's great when I do get some sort of accolade, when I get a kudos. It's gratifying, but at the end of the day, just like you, the reason why I'm doing this is for God. It's because of my heavenly Father, and if
Mm-hmm.
I'm making Him pleased, that's the most important thing, because if I'm
Yep.
pleasing Him, then I know that He's going to bless me, and then I'm gonna help Him through them. The people that I'm helping. And I know He'll be happy for that. But again, it does make it much easier if somebody that I'm helping, if they have success, then man, it's so gratifying. Like recently, we've had some great success with some of these pages,
Can you
and
share
it's
some?
awesome.
Give one success story.
Yeah, I mean we've been helping. We've got a page. Corey needs a kidney, and Corey's wife Carrie is absolutely been just going at it, and she's been great in that she's been a sponge. She's been absorbing everything that Jeff and I have been trying to teach her, and man, we've been able to help her. And since we've been involved, number one, we've given them hope. Now, I keep saying this, and I'll say it probably till I die, but the most powerful word in the world is hope. And we've given them hope. They didn't have hope. They had nearly given up, and they'd become so complacent. They weren't sure if they really believed that anything was going to happen. And since we've been involved with that Facebook page, they've had 20 candidates come forward. 20. So that
Wow.
it's gratifying when something like that happens,
Wait
and
a minute.
it
Wait a
really
minute.
means.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You saying the Facebook page that you and your brother got involved with, since your involvement with them, they have received over 20 candidates for a kidney.
That's right. Yeah,
Wow.
20. Yeah.
Wow. I commend you, man. Wow. That's amazing, man. Amazing work.
Yeah, it's gratifying,
I
and again,
mean, you got people. I'm sorry to interrupt again, but I'm just thinking about that because 20 candidates. Do you know how many people that can probably help right here watching this? 20
you know,
candidates for
well,
a kidney transplant.
the biggest thing that I want to say is that if we can do it, everyone else can do it too. I'm telling you, okay,
Wow.
what we do, other people can do too. And so if I can deliver one message today, is it's hope. We can give you hope. If we can do it, I'm just some Joe, okay? And if I can do it, you all can do it too. Okay, we can make posters. We can make live videos. But and I understand, that maybe not everybody feels comfortable in front of a
Exactly.
camera,
Some
but
people not as talented.
not everybody can do everything that I do, but
Hmm.
I can teach people to do what I do. And if we can do it, many other people can do it too. And
Right.
they can have some of the same success that we're having because it can be done. I mean, it's work. It is. It's a
But what
part-time
about? Let
job.
me ask you this, Jared. What about? And I'm just going to be honest with you. What if someone's watching this video right now and that lives in an urban community that has lack of resources, lack of finances, um, on disability, medical assistance, whatever, no transportation, has to scratch and scrounge, just to get by for medicine. How could they do something like that if, say, they don't have, say, a laptop and they just maybe have a smartphone? Could this be done on a smartphone? Do you have ideas for them to do it if they
I
have
do.
very, very minimal means?
Absolutely. It can be done on a smartphone. A lot of what Jeff and I do is on a smartphone. The only thing that's not done on the smartphone is my green screen when I'm doing these videos and I'm in either Egypt with the pyramid or wherever. That's done with the green
Right.
screen or, whatever's. But the other things we do mostly on our smartphone. We've got an app that we use called Canva, and we use that. There's an app we use called Photo Lab. These are all apps that are on either Google Play Store or the Apple Store, whatever it's called. And then you can actually, you can make videos all on your own. A lot of smartphones have a camera, so you could do videos, just with your smartphone. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
absolutely, a lot of this I do on my smartphone.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. When someone comes to you and asks you to help advertise for them to get a transplant, do they how does that process start? Do you have a form or a sheet that get their information like um, their name, their phone number, their blood type, what number to call? How does all that adds up?
Yeah, I mean, in many cases, in some cases, people have approached us, and then when that happens, we'll try to get their information. The most important thing really is to get, their transplant hospital information. Find out what hospital they're already connected with. Find out if they're on the list. Okay, find out if they're currently on dialysis or not. And
Mm-hmm.
that way we get a backstory.
Okay.
Every I'm a big superhero comic book fan, and every superhero has a backstory, an origin story, right? Well, we've got to have their origin story, and we've got to be able to tell a story, and that's what we do with these Facebook pages. Is we tell a story, and the followers they follow the story, and so we find out what blood type they are, find out by knowing what blood type they are, then we can kind of put together that story. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, we still want to be able to answer questions about the paired exchange program, but we don't really. I don't want to say that we don't promote it, but it's just not the easiest thing to promote. because then you got to get the whole, you got to get the diagram, the whole thing. It just gets really complicated if you
Right,
start to
right.
explain. But yeah, we'll answer questions about the paired exchange program, but we'll generally just try to get information about their blood type, hospital, and we tell the story. Everybody likes the story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you and your brother thought about um, creating a foundation to possibly use to solicit funds for your efforts and for other possibly ventures that can help people waiting on the transplant list, such as I'm just throwing this out there, say like medication or other problems that go along with this process. Um, you know, man, this disease is so big. From people getting transplants, from people having transplant, from 6 months to 20 years, and the transplant rejecting, going back on dialysis. So, I guess the question would be: have you and your brother talked about creating something larger than what you're doing now to possibly address other issues dealing with the transplant process or just with kidney disease in itself?
Okay, sure, I feel you. We've just started recently kind of discussing that, because it's it's kind of taken on a kind of a life of its own because of what we're doing, and so we've recently kind of discussed that, and we've discussed kind of how we picture, or envision what we're doing and how we want it to evolve. So we've talked about it a little bit, and it'll be fun to kind of see what we do from here. But I'd like to think that we can do a whole lot more than what we're currently doing.
Hey, Jared, let me find a question. June asks, she says, wait a minute, let me move. She says, how are hospitals able to provide personal info based on HIPAA laws?
Oh, wow.
And I guess that's probably referring to, the information for the transplant when you're asking to get information, to put on those posters.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we'll get a lot of the information from the hospital, the transplant hospital, and and then if people that we're trying, if candidates come forward and they have questions, we really want to gear their questions to the hospital, because that's where the dialogue will start to evolve. If they're calling the hospital, talking to the transplant coordinator, and not that I don't want to answer their questions,
Right, right.
but again,
Well,
if
you don't
there's
have all that information. You just advertising for them pretty much.
It is, and I'd rather have the dialogue evolve with the transplant coordinator, and that way they can kind of, answer their questions more accurately, and then they can also form some sort of, rapport with them, so to speak.
Right, right. Wow. Have you had any I don't want to say unsuccessful, but any stories that kind of um didn't go well?
Well, we've sometimes that we have a page that sometimes will get a little stagnant, and we have to kind of infuse some excitement. We have to get some more energy, because for a page to really sustain success, boy, you have to have a lot of activity. And when I talk about activity, I mean commenting. We have to have people sharing. We have to have people that are involved that way, because if there isn't sharing and you don't have people commenting on the post and it just gets stagnant, then you don't have that reach, and then you're not getting connected with potential candidates that have never actually seen the post or the page before.
Right, right. Yeah. How important is that to get for people to share, to get that out into the mainstream? Because Facebook is big.
It is. It's big. And, you know, one of our we've had some really active pages, and one of the most active pages that we manage is Nick Needs a Kidney. I'm telling you, the page that we do for Nick Sauter is the one. It's got to be either one of the most active or the most active page that we do, and
Wow.
we have about a 40,000 reach per month just from that page alone. It's
Wow.
not.
He's going to be on our show next week, Nick Sauter.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm
New
excited
Jersey.
for it. Yeah, I'm excited to have you interview Nick Sauter. He's a wonderful guy, just very, very nice. You know, very, very friendly. And man, if you like sports, he's got a great story because he's played football, he's coached football. His college team went undefeated.
Wow. Let me ask you this. Have you had any type of premonition that you may be visiting some of these people that you're actually helping advertising, like meeting them in person?
You know, I think that that some of this is fate. You know, one of the people I just think that I'm meant to help is Jesus Mendoza. It's just you know, I've not met her personally. You know, I've only spoken with her on Facebook. I've done Facebook. You know, I've spoken with her over video, and I've interviewed with her. But I just have a very good connection with her. And so I feel like that's divine. I really do. I feel like that's one of my callings is to help her. You know, and each one of these has such a unique story. All of them, I feel like I wouldn't be part of helping them if somehow God didn't help me get connected with them. You know, Barb Lundberg is just another special person. And then I've got Joe Cortez. You know, give Joe a fighting chance is what I like to say. You know, and every one of them, I get a big smile on my face when I talk about them because I do feel connected. You know, and one of them that I've been promoting just recently is a personal friend of mine. Her name's Julie, and I know her personally, and I've asked to help her because she's a personal friend of mine. I know her; she's a neighbor, and so I've been helping her personally, and I've started doing videos for her.
So I want to bring you back down to the broadcast, guys. We're having little technical difficulties. Jared,
I don't know how else to say it other than I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Stand by, folks. This is you know, the enemy trying to delay this information from coming on. So wait for Jared to sign back on, get him back in the room, and we continue on with the interview.
Can you hear me, Steve? I can't see your face and I can't hear your voice. Can you still see me or hear me?
Are you there? Let me see if I can get him on the phone. This is live. So, I mean, this happens. So I love it. I love it. So as we were talking with Jared, I mean, him and his brother Jeffrey has helped many people. One person had over 20 people respond to a transplant. So let me see. I think he may be coming back on. Here we go.
All right, am I back?
Hey, Jared.
All right, am I back?
Yeah, you back.
All right.
This broadcast is freezing up.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Yeah. So what was you saying?
You know,
What were you speaking about before we got froze up?
yeah, I mean, you were asking if I felt some sort of premonition, if I, and I
Right,
felt
right.
I felt inclined, to help some of these a little bit more directly, and some of them I've been asked by, like James Myers approached me for a couple of them, uh, but Jesus Mendoza, I feel a great connection. But there are some others I have I feel very, very connected to help them. And I work very hard for each and every one of them, for Nick, for Joe, for Julie that I just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
for Barb, of course. And I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I didn't feel God wanted me to do this. I feel like this is what he wants me to be doing right now.
Mm-hmm. How much time does this take from your normal life?
It's a part-time job. My wife sees me doing these videos. She sees me doing some things like this, and but she understands the cause. I
Mm-hmm.
may be doing, we may be putting in maybe I don't know, sometimes whether it's 20 hours a week or sometimes a little bit more. It depends.
So is this certain days you work on these projects? Do you have like certain times allotted for it, or it's just out of the blue? You may just get an idea and then just go and do it.
It's really just when I get an idea and I do it. Whether it's on a break at work or coming home from work and then getting an idea and putting a poster together. Just looking at a photo and then looking at an image and just putting some themes together. We for Christmas, of course, we did a big Christmas theme where a lot of our pages had Christmas themes, and then we've gone with kind of a winter theme with some of the posters. But yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
Jeff and I, we try to have again a little fun with it. There were there were some of them we try to add a little humor, but not too much because we don't want to make it look as though we're making light of this because
Right.
it's a serious
Absolutely.
thing. But we sometimes want to bring a smile to these kidney warriors' faces. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes again they if I'm one thing that makes them smile in the day, then I'm good with that. They can laugh at me. That's okay.
Right. Right. Hey, how did you come up with the idea of the Iron Man?
It's another green screen effect where I just coming up with you know uh, heroes again. People they want to be saved. Kidney donors want to be saved. They want to find a kidney. You're a kidney warriors. They want to find a kidney donor as a hero. So that I just kind of try to find kind of something that they could relate to. They want a hero.
Right. Right. Barb asked, what could kidney warriors do to help?
What could they do? Well, Barb's one that's trying to learn more. And I love that about Barb. She's trying to learn more about Photolab. She's trying to learn more about Canva. She's trying to learn more about what Jeff and I do to make posters. And so a lot of them do quite a bit. Barb was already putting out a sign out on her property. And some of them put not only signs on their property, but they put signs on their cars. Some
Oh,
of them do
absolutely.
quite a bit. And so I'm not going to try to negate anything that they don't already do. But if they could be doing other things, I'd be happy to. Jeff and I are happy to help teach them. We'd like to make sure that people have the right tools in order to get the word out, because ultimately that's what they want. Is they want people to get to understand that they need a kidney. Man, I tell you what, it will make me so happy when any one of these people have kidney surgery and get a transplant. They're the recipient. I will be smiling 24/7, 365 when that happens.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Has anyone that you helped receive the transplant you know of?
Well, indirectly, I mean, I'm a man of faith, and so I can't say that none of our pages have actually had a kidney candidate that has converted into a transplant surgery yet. You know, I'm I still think it's going to happen, and we have had some great success recently with Corey Needs a Kidneys. Had, again, like we already talked about, over 20 candidates. Nick Sauter has had some success as well with his page. I mean, the guy's reached right now on his page is over 40K a month, and he's had some candidates come forward. And so
I'm sorry. Let me ask you this. Have you seen this much advertisement when your sister-in-law was first came on Facebook with her disease? I mean, did you see any advertisement?
No.
For people searching for a kidney?
I really didn't, and man, Jeff and I looked at the internet, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever, Instagram. We looked for ideas, and I'll learn and I'll take ideas, but I've not seen anything really that mirrors or reflects what he and I have done, and it's gratifying because it looks as though we're trend setting right now, but it's also a little sad because, man, with the technology that we have, you think there would have been something else out there like what we're doing.
You just said something that a light switch went in my head, and I think that I hope that I'm doing the trend setting with these type of shows. Our goal ultimately is to be like one of these cable networks where you have multiple kidney shows going on simultaneously. Just putting that information out there like that. And then, like I said before, we may have 6 or 7 shows, but they're all different, but they all center around the same thing, and that's kidney disease. Talking with you about this, it centers around kidney disease because you're taking your time to advertise for someone who's searching for a kidney, based off of your experience with your sister-in-law. And I mean, it's just so many different stories that we could touch on that we felt like one show alone couldn't address it. Like Sunday Morning Transplant Coffee Talk deals with the whole transplant, process.
Right.
And shows like in this one deal with kidney disease, and the one after this, Sisters Against Kidney Disease, focuses on women dealing with kidney disease on a day-to-day basis, their struggles. Urban Reno Talk with Tamika and Steve, we try to shed light of what's going on in dialysis with different people and different issues or problems that may go on that a lot of people don't think about. Jared, I mean, I don't know if you heard on that show last week, Urban Reno Talk with Tamika and Steve, there's an increase in kidney disease in all the states, but it's certain southern states, it's gotten worse, man, per 100,000. And see,
it's an epidemic.
What people don't understand, these big dialysis companies, they see this, man. This is what they live for. This is how they how they build their dialysis models and where they're going to put, their facilities. And this was the whole push behind Proposition 8 out in California, that it failed. So the dialysis companies are able to get enormous profits. There's no cap on it, and things are still running business as usual.
Yeah, it's I paid a little attention to that when that whole thing was going down, Proposition 8, and
right.
But it's it's, you know, I love the information that you put out there, because, you know, there are times where, you know, I'm thankful for these centers, and you know, whether it's Davida or Fresenius,
Right.
you know,
Absolutely.
I think they do a lot of good. But then, you know, I start to wonder, well,
Well,
what
yeah, that's a
what
different
happened
show.
if you know, if there was something with our technology that made it so they didn't necessarily have these clinics anymore, then they wouldn't make the money, you know. So
Right.
it really does start to make you think, you know.
Yeah. So look, I gotta actually close up the show. We got another show coming up, but I just wanted to ask, how can people get in contact with you if they wanted to use your service to advertise for their transplant
They can hit
online?
me up. They can hit me up on Facebook. Find me on Facebook. Also on Instagram. You know, we'd love to help teach. We train. We'd love to get people more involved with you know, doing what we do. We also have a Facebook group called Kidney Disease Awareness. You know, we're welcoming anybody that wants to be part of that Facebook group as well. But it's been a pleasure. I got to tell you, seriously, it's an honor to be on your show, Steve.
Hey
I
man,
love to
thank you.
hear
I
you.
appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, man, making these advertisements to, you know, be on, man, because I know you're a busy guy out there in Utah.
Well, it's a lot of fun. So thank you very much again for having me on.
Hey, no problem, Jared. I'll be talking with you soon, man.
Okay.
Again, thank you, man, for coming on. Talk to you later, okay?
You're welcome. Bye
All
bye.
right, take care, Jared. All right, guys. That was our live interview with Jared A. Brown, half of the duo of the Brown brothers, Jeffrey Brown. So, if you want to reach out to him to advertise for your transplant, you can reach him on Facebook at Jared A. Brown or Jeffrey Brown. That's on Facebook. And I ask you to stay tuned for Sisters Against Kidney Disease with host Sorrell coming up right after this broadcast. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Smashing Kidney Disease with Nick Salter, one of Jared's Facebook warrior clients that he advertised for, and Nick will share his story. Thanks for watching. See you next week. God bless.